Assalamualaikum and welcome to ETM Genius. I am Amshaj Faisal from ETM Academy Islamabad, and if you are an HSSC 1 or 2 student following the F.sc curriculum at national or international level, this video is a must watch. Today we are cracking the code of narrations. Yes, direct and indirect speech. A topic that can make or break your English exams. But don't worry, because by the end of this lesson, you'll be transforming sentences like a pro. So get ready, grab your notebooks, and let's dive in. Let's begin with the direct speech. When someone says something and you quote their exact words, we use direct speech. While when we report that same sentence without quoting the exact words, it becomes an indirect speech. Let's understand this with the help of an example. Look at the board. It says, John said, I am going to the market. What do you think would be the right answer? John said, I am going to the market, or John said he was going to the market? Yes, John said he was going to the market. Notice that quotation marks are gone, and we also had to change the pronouns and the tense. That's what makes indirect speech a little tricky. It might sound simple, but there are some important rules that you need to follow. So let's break them down one by one with examples to make it super easy for you. Before moving towards the basic rules of changing narration, let's break down a sentence or a speech into the components. She said, this is the reporting verb because after that comes the reported speech, something that has been said by a person. So this becomes reported speech. A reported speech is always going to come under the quotation marks, and a reporting verb will always report a speech. It can be other words as well, like told, asked, Told is used when giving information and is always followed by an object, while ask is used for questions and can be followed by an object. But it is not always the case. So, in case of ask, when we change a sentence from direct to indirect, we use if or whether for yes or no questions and WH words for information questions. Let's look at an example. He said to me, you should study harder. When we are going to change it into indirect speech, it will become, he told me that I should study harder. Now, what happened here? The verb told is used in narration because when reporting a statement, instruction, or order, it implies direct communication from one person to another, unlike said, which can stand alone as well. Told always requires an object, the person that is being addressed. So, first of all, it always requires an object. It can never occur like he told. It will always be he told me, he told him, he told them. Secondly, it is used for giving information or structure. For example, she said to me, close the door. She told me to close the door. So, told is often used when reporting commands or requests. Furthermore, it indicates a direct communication between two people. For example, he said, I am busy. Indirect will be, he told me that he was busy. Said does not require an object, but told makes it clear that the speaker was addressing someone specifically. Now let's move on towards the rules. The first and the foremost important rule of narration is removal of the quotation marks. In direct speech, quotation marks are necessary to indicate the speaker's exact words. However, when we talk about indirect speech, we are not repeating the words exactly, but we are rather reporting the meaning of what was said. Since we are not quoting, so quotation marks are no longer required. Let's understand it with an example. He said, I am happy. You can see the quotation marks in the direct speech. But look at the indirect speech. She said that she was happy. We have first removed the quotation marks, then we have added a conjunction, and after that we have changed the tense. As we talk about the conjunction, in many cases the conjunction that is used to connect the reporting verb with the reported clause. Coming to the second rule, that is the changing of pronouns. Now, take a look at this. I becomes he or she, we becomes they, and so on. Simple, right? Let's try it with another example. She said, I love pizza. Now, can you tell me in the comments how this will change in the indirect speech? And I will give the answer at the end of this video, so keep watching till the end. In the meantime, let's have a look at pronouns change. You is going to change into he, she, or they depending upon the context. However, when we talk about he, she, they, it will not change. Why? Because it's already in the third person. Me will change into him or her according to the context. Us will be changed into them. You as an object will be changed into him, her, or them depending on the context. Similarly, him, her, and them will have no change. My will become his or her. Our will become their. Your will become his, her, their. Depending upon the context, his, her, their will not be changed and it will remain the same. Mine will be changed into his and her, just like mine. And ours will be changed into theirs, just like ours. Yours will be changed into his, hers, theirs, depending upon the context of the sentence, and theirs will remain the same. Now, coming to the change in tense. If you are unable to understand this rule of narration, you will not be able to correctly change direct speech into indirect speech because this you can call it as the foundation of the narrations. Here are some rules stated which tense is going to be converted into which one. Let's say if the reporting verb is in the past tense, the verb in the direct speech usually changes. For example, I go becomes he went. Let's try another example. He said, I am eating. Would you like to make a guess? Yes. It will become he said that he was eating. See, the first thing that you can see on the screen is the present tense will be changed into past tense. If we are talking about present indefinite tense, we are going to change it into past indefinite tense. For example, I eat an apple. First of all, we have to remove the quotation marks, change the pronoun, and add a conjunction. Then we are going to change it into past tense. I eat will become he ate, the second form of verb. Similarly, coming to present continuous tense, it will be changed into past continuous tense. I am studying will become he was studying. For present perfect tense, I have finished will become he had finished, converting it into past perfect tense. Now, if we come to past tense, we do not see changes in past perfect. and past perfect continuous tense. But past simple tense will be converted into past perfect. For example, she said, I met him. The indirect speech will be, she said that she had met him. See how the conjunction is added? How past perfect has been inculcated in it. Similarly, for past continuous tense, was sleeping will be changed into he had been sleeping, converting the tense into past perfect continuous. When we talk about the future tense, there is no change, but will be changed into would. We are going to have a look at some of other models as well so that we will know how will we be able to change them. Let's understand it with one example. For example, she said, I will help you. The indirect speech will become she said that she would help me. Now, this leads us to the next rule of narration, that is changing the models. So, these can also change when we shift from direct to indirect speech. For example, can will become will becomes would, and must becomes had to. Let's see how it works. Take a look at this sentence. He said, I will help you. What do you think about the model? Yes. She said she would help me because here we can see will would be converted into would. If she had used can, then we would have converted it into could. So yes, it changes to would. In indirect speech, models usually shift to their past forms. Can becomes could, will becomes would, shall becomes should, may becomes might, and must changes into had to. Time expressions play an important role in narrations because they change. Time related words change when you report a speech. For example, today will become that day, tomorrow becomes the next day, and so on. So, if we have a look at the changes of time expression, we can see, as I mentioned, today will become that day, tonight will become that night, yesterday will become the day before or the previous day, tomorrow will become the next day or the following day, next week, next month, next year will become the following week, month, or year, last week, month, or year will become the previous week, month, or year. Now will become then or at that moment. Ago will become before, here will become there, this will become that, and these will become those. Let's try it with an example. She said, I will see you tomorrow. Now, how does it changes into indirect speech? It becomes, she said that he would see me the next day. So, lastly, you have to remember that in indirect speech, we do not use quotation marks. We use a conjunction, we change the tense, we change the time expression, and we change the model. Let's practice the conversion of direct to indirect speech using a practice paragraph. In FPISC final exams, there is usually a paragraph given in direct speech which needs to be converted into indirect speech. So let's start with this easy one. Tom said, I am going to the park later today. Now keep in mind the things that we have to change. We have to change the pronouns, the verb and the helping verb, and the time as well. Note in each sentences these elements so that we can convert them one by one. Coming back to the sentence, I will play soccer with my friends and we might go for ice cream afterwards. My brother Mark wants to join us, but he isn't sure if he will be free. We plan to meet at 4 p.m. If it rains, we will move the game to the indoor hall. I will stay until 6 p.m. before heading back home. See, I have underlined a few words because we are going to change them and many others. So let's have a look at the first and the foremost important thing, that is the change of pronoun. Wherever the paragraph uses I, it will be changed into he because we are talking about Tom, the guy. Similarly, when we are talking about plural, we will be changed into third person plural, they. So let's read it with the changed pronoun. Tom said he is going to the park. Obviously, we have to change the verb as well. We plan to meet at 4 p.m. will become they planned to meet at 4 p.m. We are going to see how the tense is going to be changed. But first, we are just focusing on the pronouns. Moving forward, we will change the model as well. Now, see, there have been quite a usage of model will. It will be changed into would. So he would, we would, and I would. You have to change the time as well. Later today will become later that day. 4 p.m. stays the same because it's a specific time. After changing the time, we will have to look at the change in tense. I am going will be changed into he was going, past tense. I will play, I will be changed into he, third person pronoun. Will become would, and play will remain the same. We might go remains the same. He isn't sure if he will be free will become he wasn't sure if he would be free. We are changing is into was and we are changing the model as well. Then we plan to meet will become they plan to meet. Third person plural and change of tense from present to past. Coming to word if it rains, we will move. Here rains has been converted into rain by changing the tense. Will have become would by changing the model and changing the tense. We has become they because we have to change the pronoun as well. I will stay. First we have changed the pronoun, then we have changed the model as well. Similarly, I will become he, will becomes would. So you can see basically similar things have been happening again and again throughout the paragraph because we are changing from one form, one tense to another. And when we are changing the tense, we have to look at the verb, the helping verb, and what modal verbs are going to be suitable with them. Now let's put all of these things together. Let's change the pronouns, change the modals, change the time, and change the tense. We will get a paragraph into an indirect speech. Let's have a look. Tom said that we have removed the quotation marks and added a conjunction that. I am going to the park later today becomes he was going to the park later that day. I is changed into a third person pronoun. Is converted into was. because present tense is always changed into the past tense. Moving forward, I will play soccer with my friends and we might go for an ice cream afterwards. I becomes he, will becomes would. He would play soccer with his friends, not my friends. Because we are talking about someone else's speech. Someone else has said this paragraph. Someone else has said this directly. So, when we are converting it into indirect speech, when we are hearing it from the first person and we are telling it to another person, a third person, every pronoun will become a third person pronoun. So, again, my brother will become his brother. Mark wanted to join them. Why wanted? Because change of tense has happened here. To join them, not to join us. Why? Again, the change in pronoun. But he wasn't sure if he would be free. Is converted into was, the past tense. He again change of pronoun. Will become would. We plan to meet at 4 p.m. We become they because it's the third person. They planned to meet at 4 p.m. Plan becomes plan. Why? Because we have changed the tense as well. If it rained, they would move the game to the indoor hall. Now, the original sentence that was quoted by Tom was if it rains, we will move the game to the indoor hall. Now, Tom is not directly saying it. We are conveying Tom's message to a third person, let's say John. So, we are not going to tell exactly what he has said. Instead, we are going to unquote the thing, unquote his words, and we are going to tell John as a third person what Tom has said. So, if it rains become if it rain. We will move the game becomes they would move the game to the indoor hall. Last sentence I will stay until 6 p.m. before heading back home. Now I will be changed into he and will become would. I will stay until 6 p.m. before heading back home. I will become he, third person, will becomes would. But 6 p.m. will not be changed. Why? Because it's a specific time. If he had said before noon or before tonight, then we would have converted it into the relevant time. But since the time is specific, we are not going to change it. Let's quickly recap whatever we have learned in this lecture. Firstly, we have seen the difference between direct and an indirect speech. A direct speech is with the quotation or the exact words of the speaker. However, indirect speech is not in the quotation marks, or it is not the direct speech or the direct words or the exact words of the speaker. Then we have seen an example. We have seen some of the basic rules of conversion when we are converting direct speech into indirect. We have seen that there is a removal of quotation marks, there is a change in the pronouns, there is a change of tense, change of modals, and the change of time expressions. Later, we had practiced a paragraph of how we are supposed to change the paragraph from direct speech to indirect speech by keeping in mind each and every step and the rule of changing the narrations. We have to keep in mind that we have to remove the quotation marks, we have to add a conjunction, we have to change the pronoun, we have to change the model, we have to change the time, change the tense as well. If you were repeating everything after me, then well done. You have done that. Now let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions related to the narrations. I'll be happy to answer them. Again, to wrap it up, remember these key points. Pronouns change, tense shift, modals gets adjusted, and the time expressions also need to be changed when moving from direct to indirect speech. So keep practicing. Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this helpful. Subscribe for more awesome lessons and share this video with your friends so that they can ace the exams too. Together, we will ace this. Catch you in the next one. Bye bye. For more interactive video lessons, like, share, subscribe, comment, and turn the bell notification on. With our videos, you can ace your exams this time because ETM Academy is your go-to partner.